We live in a world where femininity, marriages, family, and courting is no longer valued. We live in hookup culture, situationships, and struggle love. The number one reason women struggle in long-term relationships, number one, femininity, and number two, staying in a relationship or entertaining people longer than the woman should.
My name is Danielle DeVita, and I'm a relationship and femininity coach. I've been married for 12 years, and I want to help you get on your feminine journey and vet for the right man today. For more of my content, you can visit mrsdanielledevita.com, or you can go to YouTube, Instagram, or my Facebook page. Get on your feminine journey today. Mrs. Danielle DeVita back with another video. I overheard someone say that marriage is overrated. A lot of women say, I like the strong silent type. Well, a lot of men like the feminine silent type. And for sure, it's going down. So a lot of times people are not getting the value. When to speak and when to be quiet is one of the most powerful. She's going to be aggressive, thinking that. And as someone who's been married for 12 years, she's driven, not lazy. And this will make yourself and get on the right path. That understand that you might be doing a disservice to your daughter. If you don't help her understand vetting and proper decision making, now she's going to be a basket case later. If you don't help her understand emotional intelligence, she's going to hold on to a lot of emotional baggage. If you don't. Mrs. Danielle DeVita back. Alrighty, we are live. So I have some overexposure here. Let me get my lighting working the way I need it to. Turn down my lighting. I actually changed. There we go. Welcome to another live stream with Mrs. Danielle DeVita. So if this is your first time, thank you for tuning in. Please go ahead and subscribe, like, and comment. So if you don't know who I am Danielle DeVita. I am a relationship and femininity coach. I have been married for 12 years, and my goal is to make sure that you find the person that you deserve. So I'm trying to get my Instagram going. So I have Instagram here and YouTube and Facebook here. So I apologize. I am on a different camera again today. I do have the camera that I do need. It's just the output. I do not have that. And I'm trying to find that output so I can be able to have a better quality. So that is a struggle sometimes. So if you see the bottom of the screen, if you are on YouTube and Facebook, you can see it. But if you want to know more about my content, you can go to mrsdanielledevita.com. I also have a call-in feature now. So you are able to dial 813-816-1813 if you want to provide your input about femininity, relationships, or what I'll be talking about today. So if you don't know what I'll be talking about today, it is kind of like a piggyback off of the TD Jakes thing. There's another content about what a woman said, that she doesn't even need a man to bring life into the world, because we have sperm donors, right? We have sperm banks where you can just go and get what you need. And I'm going to talk about this because this actually is a deeper issue. It's more than just saying I don't need a man to create life because of, the sperm banks. It's a lot deeper than this, especially in our community, especially since there's a lot of women saying, well, what about the men and why they're not here for the children? This has a lot to do with it. So Aaron Freeman, thank you for taking the time to listen to my content. You didn't have to, but you took the time to do that, and I greatly appreciate it. So welcome. And all of those who I cannot see that are viewing in on Facebook and YouTube, as well as Instagram, I appreciate it. Thank you all. So I am going to, without further ado, I am going to get started and tell you what I'm talking about today. So a lot of this all has to do with accountability. So I have found this video that's pretty funny. So if you're on Instagram, you can't see it, but you can hear it. So I want to show you how some women avoid accountability and you want accountability, because there's times where all of us have at some point avoided accountability. And I'll tell you why it is that women avoid it. So I want to show you this funny clip that I saw, and then we will go right into it. Again, 813-816-1813 if you want to provide your input. And I'll open it up to that. I'll also go ahead and put the StreamYard for those who want to be on camera. And I'll do that now. And let me go ahead and get this video out, because this video was pretty funny to me about how women avoid the accountability talk. Here we go.
A woman bring life. Y'all don't.
How do you get that life?
Go in the hospital and get a sperm donor. You don't need a man.
Wrong video. This is, let me see. Is this the accountability one? Yes. Let me turn it up because you guys can't hear.
You gotta realize, because I've started taking accountability with certain things of how I behave.
Would you say that's common for women to take accountability?
At a certain point in your life, you gotta grow up.
No. That's not what I asked you. I said, do you think women take accountability? Because women like to be wrong and strong. So, I mean, with you being a woman, you know women. You know women. Do women take accountability?
I feel like women can.
No. We didn't ask that. I don't want to ask you. No,
You asked a simple question?
Yeah.
But do men?
It's a yes or no. What, yo? It's a yes or no question.
But do men? Do men take
Look,
accountability?
You can't.
Y'all can't make answer the
Time
question.
out. It's a yes or no question.
Yes.
That he's asking.
Yes, but there's a but.
There is always a but.
So we hear that men ask straightforward questions and women beat around the bush. They cannot answer it. Now, why women do not like to take accountability? Be honest, a lot of times as women, we like to be right. And accountability is like going to an AA meeting. Before you can before you can get the help and get what you need, you're going to have to admit that there's a problem. And to admit that there's a problem means you can't blame it all on one person. You can't blame it on men. You're going to have to say, you know what? I made poor decisions. I did some things. I said some things. I've gave the wrong people access to my life, my wound. You're going to have to admit to those things. And then you're going to have to say, you know what? I'm the problem. And women like to be right. They want to be right. We want to be right. So in essence, the only way we can remain right is to not be the source of the problem. Yeah, we can probably say, oh, I could have said this better, but we don't like to be the source of the problem. So admitting accountability is saying I'm wrong and I'm at fault, and I can no longer blame this on the men in my life. I have to accept that all this is because of the very first decision that I made, right? So with that being said, I hope that if you're listening, that you do learn to take accountability for your actions. I've had to learn to take accountability for my actions. And I think if we do that, if both men and women take accountability, we will grow and be better people. We can't go through this 12-step program if we don't even acknowledge that we have a problem. Because to be honest, if we can say that there's no problem, then there's nothing for us to fix. We can easily say, well, what about men? What about men? What about men? So we won't ever get to the point of, well, what about us? Yeah, ladies, what about you? You mean to tell me all the men in your life just forced them way in your life? Every man that you were with, he forced himself on you. You didn't open up to him. And you know what I mean when I say open up? You didn't give him access. You weren't unprotected. You didn't have this child. You didn't have this attitude that caused a relationship to go downhill. You didn't do that. You were the one who tried to mend relationships, and it was all him. So we have to get to the point where we are being honest about how we could be better in relationships, right? If we're going to get to the point of, being better as a people, a community, better families, we're going to have to admit that it's not all men. All men aren't monsters. All women aren't trifling, right? We're going to have to do that. It's not all, it's not never. But instead of worrying about what other people are doing, what is it that I can do to be a better person, to make better decisions, right? So without further ado, I'm going to get started with the main subject of the video is about women still saying they do not need men. And this woman said she does not even need a man for children. And I'm going to go deeper into why this is hurting Black families. What she said is actually detrimental. This is the reason, this is the mindset of why we have single family homes. Yeah, it's not just her. There's many people that's walking around with the same mindset, although they didn't say those words out their mouth like she did. She's going to be one of the source of the reasons why our families are broken. And women don't even know it. They don't even know it. They're the reason why we have single family homes. It's sad to say, right? So here we go. Let's get started. I hate this background light, so that sucks. Let me get off screen here and then put that video up. Let's see.
I understand that women bring life. Y'all don't.
How do you get that life?
Go in the hospital and get a sperm donor. You don't need a man.
You still need a man.
You need a physical woman to bear a child for you.
And y'all need
I need
No,
a
we
physical
don't. We need
sperm.
sperm.
Where does it come from?
That's for right now. Give it to
From
you.
a man.
If a physical man didn't
Listen.
go to that hospital, it would not be there.
Okay, you guys don't carry kids for 9 months. We do.
I carried them my whole life. What the hell? Kids is here the whole life.
You can't have a baby without sperm.
Women like you always try to eliminate men, and that's where the issue is. You just said you don't need a man.
You
Yeah.
don't.
We can't.
We
Huh?
want you. Don't. We want you. There's a difference. Need and want is a different thing. I don't need a man.
You don't want him.
You want the
You want the potion
Yeah.
that lives inside of his
That's it.
testicles.
Okay, so I am tired of hearing this. Well, I don't need you. I want you. We all understand that a woman can actually function without the source of a man, just like a man can function without the source of a woman. We can get up, we can go to the bathroom, we can pay a bill, we can take care of the children. The man doesn't have to be in our presence, just like the woman doesn't necessarily have to be in the man's presence for him to be able to do the things that he needs to do in life. We understand that the actual need is not necessary, right? Especially in this day and age. But a man is still essential. He is still needed. You could say want, but he is needed. Why what she said is the reason why we have broken homes and family today is because, think about it. You said, I don't need a man to have a child, but that child needs a man. So we are having women raising children, thinking in their head, I don't need a man and neither does my child. That son, that daughter that you have or that you're raising or that's in your womb needs a father figure. See, this is the thing. We live in a world where we think father figures are not needed, or a father figure, but not the actual father is needed, because it's not even enough to have the father figure if we can have the actual father there. Fathers are essential. Essential is a need, just like air is needed. They are essential. Think about, if you are listening, think about that you never grew up without your father. If you never grew up without your father, whether you are a woman or a man, imagine if you had a healthy father, someone who was in their right mind, they're mature, they're healthy, and they can provide you what was necessary, the emotional support, the spiritual, and all of those things. He's needed. And could you say that you don't need him? If he was available to be right there, be the man that he needed to be for you at the age when you first was able to understand and know your father, would you not have found that essential in your life? But if you could say, I don't need my daddy, that's because you're harboring up some emotion, some pain, some trauma. But if you take away that and rewind your life back to that very moment that you thought you needed him, when you wanted him to be there at some play, at some school, at some event, he was necessary for your growth, necessary for your identity, necessary to help you understand who you are and to know that you are loved, right? So we're getting to the point where we are, as women, saying we don't even need them to be fathers in our children's lives. So when we say we're the men, sometimes our attitude showed that we didn't need that man, so he's no longer in that child's life. We showed him that he was not appreciated, he was not essential to this child's being. Yeah, you have some sorry men that, you know, created a child and did not want to be there, but there's some men that actually, y'all were together when you had the child. When that child was, you know, born, that man was there. Or while you were pregnant, he was still there with you. And even sometimes, even after y'all broke up, he was still coming around. There was a viral video that was going around where the man was trying to, even though he wasn't with the woman, he was trying to still be there for the son. He showed up for McDonald's every day, bringing the son some food, some lunch, doing some stuff, dropping the kid off. And she was like, well, if you can't do for my other children, the ones that are not yours, then you can't do for this child. There are women pushing men away from creating this father-son or this daughter-father bond. Through their attitudes, through the I don't need you. You're not essential to our community. You're not essential to our children's lives. These women do not need to have children. As a mother, it is deplorable to have a mother who blatantly says she does not think a father, the father, is essential to the child's life. And we're not talking about, you know, the father who is, he would be literally no good to the child. You know, we're not talking about a father who is completely, he should be stripped from his rights, right? We're not talking about that. But there's some men that actually could still be good fathers. There's just their presence. Even if they're not living exactly how they should live, just having their father's presence would mean the world to them. Just having their father show up and be around, and not where the father is everywhere else, but because they're tired of our attitudes, our mouth, everything we have to say. Knowing they can't even be around their child because being around you is so aching in their spirit. And we wonder why. Well, why do we have, you know, single mothers? Because we're trying hard. Are you? Because that child probably heard you say you don't need him. And now that child's thinking, well, I guess I don't need him either. But deep down, they know that they wanted their dad. So, yes. Her attitude is deplorable because a lot of times we think, well, that's what the father is there for, just to help create the child. After that, he's no longer necessary for a child's life, necessary for a child's growth, necessary for a child's confidence, necessary for a child's esteem, necessary for a child's, identity. But you give him that child's last name, but he want ish to you. So I think that it is pretty sad. It's pretty sad to know that this is how women feel, right? And I want to play another clip because this woman also said something that's essential of why women are saying they don't need men. So she's going to say something. I'm going to let her say something, this video, because it sums up a lot of things. And I'm going to piggyback off of some of the things she has said. But take a listen. I'm going to go ahead and get off stream so you can hear this.
So this is sort of a loaded question, but I'm just going to answer it in like a really short response. In my personal opinion, as a Black woman, I feel that the reason most Black women are out here screaming they don't need a man is because, number one, they're just equating men with money. Right? When we think about men are providers, right? And so when we think about men being providers, we think about it in a very financial, right, fiscal mindset. And so a lot of these women, because they're making money, right, they live in their masculine energy. They live in that fiscal mindset. And because they are viewing men as just wallets and not humans that bring other things besides money, they don't see the necessity for a man because they're making the money that the quote unquote man would bring to the table. Long story short, as a woman that fully understands that living in your feminine is actually more powerful, right? I understand that while I make money, there are things that a man also brings. Money being one of them, right? Like I said in my other video, 2 bags is better than 1. But he also brings something that is extremely important that women don't often acknowledge, right? His mindset, his thinking. So like solution based. Let me give you an example. So as a woman, right, I'll look at a problem in one way, and oftentimes I'm wrapped up in my emotion. And when I go and ask either my homeboys or if I have a man at the time, I ask him a question, he'll give me a solution that is a lot more logical. It removes emotion and it gets straight to the point. Oftentimes, it's something I've never considered. So he gives me a lens or a solution that I would have never considered because in my mind, I'm thinking one way. In his mind, he's thinking another. I don't think women actually value the mindsets, right? The logical thinking that a man brings, the solution-based thinking that a man brings. And so because they're so focused on this man giving me money, they don't consider all of the other attributes that a man brings. Not just the logic, right? The emotional support that he brings, right? The physical, sex, right? Because that's a necessity. People need sex to stay healthy. So there's all these things that women aren't considering. And so when a woman says she doesn't need a man, it's because she's only looking at a man from one lens. And real women, we don't look at men from one lens. We understand that a man brings more than just a wallet. He brings a plethora of other things that help balance us out emotionally, mentally, psychologically, and spiritually. And so unfortunately, for those women, they're just not in touch with their femininity. And that is the reason they're saying they don't need a man.
Okay, so yeah, so you guys listen to the clip, and hello, Daniel, how are you doing? So this woman was explaining the breakdown of why some women say they don't need a man, and she was saying that they're not in touch with their femininity, and 2, I'll go ahead and add that she mentioned that they look at a man at just because of his wallet. So if financially she doesn't need a man because she's financially secure, she's stable, or she's thriving, then she feels, oh, I don't need a man because I look at him as a financial provider. So if I have whatever I need to be financially stable, I don't need a man. And I like to say, first, if you see a man where he provides no value in your life, it's because the people who were in your life, you did not, the people that you allowed access in your life, you didn't make sure that they had value. Because if someone does not have value, hello, Miss Nina Mosley, welcome. Because if the person had no value in your life, then yeah, you're not going to see any value to have people around. It's just like, okay, well, they can be, they can't be, right? But when you see that someone comes with so much value, you realize how essential a man is. And she said that a man is more than just his financial. You need that emotional, you need that physical, you need that spiritual, that intellectual. If you're feminine, you need that masculinity. So you do need a man, right? No one is saying you need to be dependent on a man, that you're weak. Interdependent is something that you would best want. That means you can function alone. You don't need this person to hold you up to function. But having them there as a boost is necessary. But that also means they also in some way depend on you. Just like that friend you have. You could you could do without a friend, but having that friend is essential. It makes you, feel loved, care. They add so much to your life. So when you find that something's valuable and essential, you don't want it to go away. You find that you need that. It's necessary for you. So we both need each other. So when women are saying, I don't need a man, what happens is our words have power. And then we get to the point where we say we don't need him even when it comes to our children. So how dare we take that away from children, that they don't need a man. They don't need their father in their life. So we understand men and women are needed. You need a man somehow for whatever it is. Even if you take care of yourself, there's going to be a man that comes in your house to fit something you need, right? But it's something else that she said, that we look at a man as a wallet, right? So if we have the bag, then we don't need his bag. So he's not needed. That's what she was saying, that how some women think. But how is it that you need that job? Because that job is nothing but a financial provider. That job, literally all it provides you is the money you need for the substance of things that you have. So we need the job, and we need the man who's the leader on that job, that manager, that CEO, that boss. We're okay with listening to that man because he provides the finances that we need to finance what we want. But we don't consider the Black man, because I'm talking to our people, because most people who are Black listening to this, we don't need our man. We don't want him to be the leader. We look at him as just a financial provider, but they can be emotionally providing for us. They provided that actual security for us. Because if someone comes in that house, who throwing bows first? Not me. Right? And we're looking for, for this man to help us with children, support. We always like to say companionship. But men provide all these things, but we look at our job as something that's needed when all of our job does is provide financial security for us. Yes, health insurance and things like that, but this is all they provide. It's financially based. But if you really did see men as financially based, which they obviously provide more than what a job can provide, why is it that we have so much dependence on the job? A job that doesn't really care about us. We really are a number. But we can be, careful of the men that come into our life, right? And making sure that they don't just come into our life and they don't, play games and things like that, because we can control who comes into our life, who has full access to us. So we can get someone into our life that actually cares and don't see us as just a number, another notch under their belt. We can do that. But jobs, regardless, there's more than one people that work for a company. So whether they know you by name, you are a number. You are replaceable. We put more stock into a job than we do the men, because our men are going to be the pillars of our community. Our men will be the one to instill in our children the same way we instill values and things in our children. But we don't see men as valuable. Why is that? Or is it that we just don't see Black men as valuable? We're okay with everyone else telling us what to do. We're okay with when we hear leader and manager and boss, we're okay with that. But when we attach that leadership title to the Black man, it's a problem. Why? Someone tell me, 813-816-1813. Someone tell me, call in 813-816-1813. I need to understand why. Why are women saying they don't need men? And it's mostly people in our community are saying that, or at least out loud from what we're hearing. Why? Tell me. There's a link for StreamYard. If you are on YouTube and Facebook, you can click that link. You will be on video streaming. Make sure that you are camera ready. If you are on Instagram, there's an area for you to request to join. And you can be camera ready for that. And then you can also call if you don't want to be on any video. And you can dial 813-816-1813, 813-816-1813, and tell me your thoughts. We need to have a dialogue, because I do find it concerning that we're saying we don't even need men to have children. How sad is that? How sad is that? Y'all tell me, because I find it deplorable. As a mother, I find it deplorable that we don't think that men are essential to our children's lives. Not when they can be, and we choose to not have them part of our lives because of the simple fact that they don't need a man. We're more than capable of raising a child on our own, and men are not essential. She literally said, we don't even need men. It's women who bring life into the world, not men. So she saw no value in a man in regards to her children. She said, I can go to a sperm donor for that. I don't need a man. If I want one, I just want one. And if I want one, who fixes their mouth to say that men are not essential? Women are essential. Men are essential. We all are essential. Say that, then we can actually show that through our appreciation. I talk about words of affirmation. Affirm the other person. Let them know how you appreciate them, how you love them, how you feel about them. But when you keep talking about how you can be bad all by yourself, how you don't need anybody, how you got somewhere all on your own merit, nobody told you, helped you, do all the head rolling and all. You got where you got on your own. No one has helped you. Then what we do is we start acting like it. Our behaviors, our attitude starts acting that way in regards to men. That's why we need to be careful of what we say out of our mouth. Here on Instagram, Daniel says, how does a woman that thinks that way rear her son? And what is she tearing him? Oh, she's tearing him to believe about himself. Yeah, that's the question. Rearing him, okay, to believe. Yes. And that is true, because when you speak things and you have small children, so even if you have older children, children are impressionable. So they're going to see how you behave, the things you say, and then how you rear them is going to be based off of your belief. And so you're correct, how you're rearing them. And then people are going, and then we wonder why children are growing up like this. So when TD Jakes said, we are raising women to be like this, those women are then raising their children to be modern children, not caring, not loving, having the same stink attitude, saying how they don't need anybody. Y'all seen it's a Gabrielle Union movie and Morris Chestnut. It was back in the day. I can't even remember the name of it. Y'all know Jennifer Lewis was in it. It's an older movie where she was going to end up, she dated the dad, which was played by Clifton Powell, and then she wanted to date Morris Chestnut. So that movie, I cannot think of it. I know it's not. Is it The Brothers? It's not The Wood. It's one of those movies. Y'all know Morris Chestnut, Gabrielle Union, Jennifer Lewis, Clifton Powell. They were in that movie. Well, in this movie, Tatiana Ali, the one who played Ashley on The Fresh Prince, I believe that was her. She was the little sister. She couldn't have been 18 or 19 in the movie. I don't know. She was a teenager and she was with all the women. Most of them were older women. And she was with all the women and she was like, I'm so sick of men. She had her hands on the hip and she'll be talking like this. It's because they're around other women, older women, who they are listening to them say things about their relationships. And The Wood was your movie. Yeah, I don't think it's The Wood, because that movie was with the other guy. I can't think of his name. That was with the Love and Basketball guy. That's not that movie. But so in this movie, she was saying all of this stuff. And she had this kind of disdain towards Black men. This was after, I think, Gabrielle Union was sharing her problems after Morris Chestnut didn't want to be with her when he found out about that she, was with his dad. So this is how some women are growing up, or they're like teenagers. They could be in their teens and they have this disdain towards men. It's because they're hearing old women walking around talking about, talking about how men ain't ish. And so now you get 15-year-olds talking like this, 17-year-olds, and you're like, you're just a baby. You don't even have enough relationships to know about men, but they can talk like this because they're around people who are talking like this. Yeah. So imagine what these women are saying in their household and how their children are growing up. Imagine a man, a boy. He's a teenager and he's growing up. Imagine the kind of man he's going to be if all he heard was his mother and his aunts talk bad about men, especially black men. Now make that make sense. A man growing up in a home, hearing how his mom and his aunts and his grandma, because grandma's now young these days, how they're talking about men that look like him. Listen how the trauma and the emotional baggage that young girls are going to be carrying because they're hearing their mama, their aunt talk about men, and then they're going to go into relationships with that mindset and they never even experienced it. They're taking on someone else's issue, someone else's baggage. Mama needs to go to therapy too. Auntie needs to go to therapy too. Grandma needs to go to therapy too. However, they're not going to therapy because Jesus is the only therapy they need, apparently. But they only go to church on Christmas, Easter, Mother's Day. Oh, they don't go on Father's Day. They go on Mother's Day and talk about how they're the great father because they're a single mother. So they're the mother and the father. But when the father tried to be there, he ain't ish. So we're getting serious. We're getting really into it because this is the problem within the community. This is a serious accountability problem. We have to make sure that as women, we own it. It's not on all men of why there's 70% of Black households single mothers. It ain't all of them. You're the problem too. But you're the problem because of your mindset, the things that you're saying out your mouth, the things that you're thinking in your head. I know it hurts for me to say this, but I have to say it. Accountability is like, it tries to catch up to women, but we don't like it. We don't, because then it proves that we have been wrong as well. So this is no judgment on you as a single mother. The problem lies with the fact that you don't want to hold yourself accountable. You don't want to say that, well, you know what? A lot of times the reason why we are single family homes is because we said that we didn't need a man. And it showed in our actions. We didn't vet for the right man. And it showed in our decision making. Or why we still say we don't need a man. Even if that was way back then when we said, we still kind of carry on that same thing. These women that I showed in that video, they were older when she said she didn't need a man to create life. Women create life and all she needed was a sperm donor. But these are the same women that are mad at TD Jakes. Come on, how you mad at Bishop? He was only saying what the truth is. For those who didn't get to hear it, I'm going to play it again. And then I'm going to play you the accountability video. Because these women couldn't even admit to that. So here we go. Here is the video where the lady said
I understand that women bring life. Y'all don't.
How do you get that life?
Go in the hospital and get a sperm donor. You don't need a man.
You still need a man.
You need a physical woman to bear a child for you.
And y'all need
a physical sperm.
Where does it come from?
That's for right now. Give it to
From a man.
If a physical man didn't go to that hospital, it would not be there.
You guys don't carry kids for 9 months. We do.
I carried them my whole life. What the hell? Kids is here the whole life.
You can't have a baby without sperm.
Women like you always try to eliminate men, and that's where the issue is. You just said you don't need a man.
You don't. We don't. We want you. There's a difference. Need and want is a different thing. I don't need a man.
You don't want him.
You want the potion.
You want the potion that lives inside of his testicles.
You gotta realize, because I've started taking accountability with certain things of how I behave.
Would you say that's common for women to take accountability?
At a certain point in your life, you gotta grow up.
No. That's not what I asked you. I said, do you think women take accountability? Because women like to be wrong and strong. So, I mean, with you being a woman, you know women. You know women. Do women take accountability?
I feel like women can.
No. We didn't ask that. I don't want to ask you. No,
You ain't ask a simple question.
Yeah.
But do men?
It's a yes or no. What, yo? It's a yes or no question.
But do men take
Look,
accountability?
You can't.
y'all can't even answer the
Time
question.
out. It's a yes or no question.
Yes.
That he's asking.
Yes, but there's a but. There is always a but.
Okay, so I just played the accountability video where the women didn't even want to admit that women take accountability because that would be a lie, right? And not to say that all women don't, but we do find it hard that women want to take accountability. It is hard because then you'd have to admit that you messed up. You'd have to admit that you were wrong and that you could have done things better. But why do that? It's so much easier to blame men and say that men ain't ish because most people in society are going to say, girl, I know. They're not going to say, well, what about you? They're not going to do that because in society, we're trained to think that it's always a one-sided situation, not that both people can be at fault. I even say the same thing in a marriage. There's not one person that can make a marriage fail and one person that can make a marriage a success. It always takes two people, right? That's the same thing with any relationship. It takes two. And then you saw in the video where the woman said that she did not need a man. That's what a sperm donor is for. Women bring life. That's all that's necessary. So again, I want to stay on this live and hear what you think. 813-816-1813. Tell me what you think. Go ahead and put in your comments. If you don't get a chance to listen to it now, because I understand it's a Tuesday, y'all getting ready for your kids to go to school or you going to work, I understand. On the playback, put in your comments what you think. Comment on this live stream. Like, subscribe, and get ready for the next video because we're going to have another live stream on Thursday. All right. So I will listen for a caller or someone come on Instagram. If no one, Instagram, you can request to join. YouTube, Facebook, you can use StreamYard or you can call. If no one comes on, I will end the live stream earlier because there's no need to stay on if there's not much dialogue anymore. So let's see. All right. 813-816-1813. Y'all can tell me what you think. But I think this video is crazy. So a lot of women really believe that they don't need a man and that he is not essential. Again, TD Jakes even said it. Real men are essential. And if you don't feel that you're getting the real men come into your life, the accountability still goes back to you. Why? Not to say that every person you encounter and meet is going to be the man that you need, but I mean everyone who has access to your life. You give them access. You give them more knowledge into your life. You entertain them. Why is that man not essential? Because you should only have people who are valuable around you. Not just a man, but any friend, any family members. You want those people who are connected to you to be valuable. You know, there's family members that you find valuable. They're probably going to be at the top of your phone list on speed dial. That friend that you need on speed dial or a quick phone call away. Well, that's how that man needs to be. He needs to be essential. He needs to be more than a financial provider, but he needs to provide emotional security. He needs to be able to provide actual, physical security. He needs to be able to provide spiritual security, intelligence. He can't just be the bag. That's sad. If all he is the bag to you, that's what a job is, really. But you guys put more stock in the bag than you do the man who has the bag. More stock in that job that don't care about you, that job that finds you replaceable, than a valuable man, than one that can help you create life into the world. Oh, but not according to that lady. Only women create life. And I get it. I get it. We as women do create life, but we cannot say that men do not help produce life. All right, guys. It is 10:15 Eastern Standard Time. So I appreciate you taking the time to come on. You didn't have to listen to me, but you did. So I appreciate it. So again, my name is Danielle DeVita. I'm a relationship and femininity coach. And all I want you to do is to be able to take accountability, help create healthier relationships. And it's going to start with how your mindset is, how you speak things, the decisions that you make, the crossroads that you come to, the values, the standards that you have. That's all I want for you. And the only way that you're going to be able to do that, the only way that you're going to be able to fix this problem that we have in our society is first acknowledge it. That's going to start through dialogue and conversation, not necessarily with me going through any other podcast or live stream, but with the person that you want to be with, having that conversation with them, because that's what's more important, right? So let's stop with all the preferences. And let's talk about standards. Let's talk about values. Let's start vetting. Vetting is something that you used to do when you try to find the right candidate for like a political candidate. Let's do that in relationships. People who were, upper class, they did vetting in dating. They would look for it was almost like matchmaking. You'd find someone who had the right status and had the right values. They came from the right family. They were structured, and you would find that person and see if they work best for the person that you're trying to match them with. That's what you all need to be doing. Find a man who leads. And you all know what my leads is, right? L, love. E, elevate. A, aspire for greatness. This will make him high earning. D, dedicated to the things and the people who says he loves. S, serves his community. This is he's pretty much fulfilling his purpose. It's a purpose-driven life. And this is a man who he doesn't even let women who is not up to, his program have access to him. He doesn't even have sex with those women. He's careful who he sleeps with, careful who he has children with. He believes in family. He wants to create legacies, not just make babies. The woman, her leads is, I guess, reads, right? She reads. R, respects. The same thing. E, elevate. A, aspire for greatness. D, dedicated to the things and the people who she says she loves. So career shouldn't be up top. Family should. If that's what you say you want. If that's not what you want, then that's fine. But if that's what you say you want, to the things that you're dedicated to, those are what you're going to put all of your stock in, right? S, you need to be serving, your community as well, living out your purpose. And the same for you. You're not just sleeping and making babies with anyone. You're careful who you sleep with, who you give your womb to, who you give your last name to, who you give your children's last name to. Y'all need to be with these types of people, men and women. Listen up. I'm not out here to hurt you, to judge you. I just want us to have a happy and cohesive and healthy family. That's what I want for us. And the late Kevin Samuel said that there aren't women out here, trying to help women. I'm here. Y'all ain't listening. Y'all right now listening to Love and Hip Hop or whatever's on. Some scandalous show instead of how to help create families. That's what you guys are doing. But nevertheless, I am out. So thank you for taking the time to tune in. Take care now. I will see you guys on Thursday at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time.
We live in a world where femininity, marriages, family, and courting is no longer valued. We live in hookup culture, situationships, and struggle love. The number one reason women struggle in long-term relationships, number one, femininity, And number 2, staying in a relationship or entertaining people longer than the woman should.
My name is Danielle DeVita, and I'm a relationship and femininity coach. I've been married for 12 years, and I want to help you get on your feminine journey and vet for the right man today. For more of my content, you can visit MrsDanielleDeVita.com, or you can go to YouTube, Instagram, or my Facebook page. Get on your feminine journey today. Mrs. Danielle DeVita back with another video. I overheard someone say that marriage is overrated. A lot of women say, I like the strong silent type. Well, a lot of men like the feminine silent type. And for sure, it's going down. So a lot of times people are not getting the when to speak and when to be quiet is one of the most powerful. She's going to be aggressive thinking that. And as someone who's been married for 12 years, she's driven, not lazy. And this will make yourself and get on the right path. That understand that you might be doing a disservice to your daughter. If you don't help her understand vetting and proper decision making, now she's going to be a basket case later. If you don't help her understand emotional intelligence, she's going to hold on to a lot of emotional baggage. If you don't